All right, welcome back to SirAntwi Education channel. Today, grade 12, we are going to focus on the study checklist to prepare our grade 12 learners for NSC 2025 rewrite. Now, we will start without wasting much time. We are going to start from Microsoft Word, what is expected from you, and then we'll try as much as possible to focus on what you should be expecting, God willing, tomorrow. Now, for Microsoft Word, which is plus or minus 50 marks, will be focused on, or specifically focused on these topics. That's header and footer information, document properties, cover page, references, page setup, citations, paragraph settings, hyperlink or bookmark and then cross references, creating and modifying styles, font group, columns with a column break, endnote and footnote, page numbering, watermark, page background color, image manipulations, indentation, field creating and modifying the form using developer, find and replace, and then also the multi-level list drop cap. So without wasting much time, I am going to open this question paper. That is one course. So you can, if you have joined me, you can also do with me. Now, one course, the question says we must set the proofing language of the whole document to English, South Africa, and then we modify the cover page as follows. So I am going to open one course. Now, in order to set, let me see if I can get a new data file. All right, language to English, South Africa. So there are two ways of doing that. You can just go to tell me what to do, and then you type proofing. So it's going to give you set proofing language, and then you set it to English, South Africa, then okay. Alternatively, from the bar here, the status bar, you will see English, South Africa, or maybe in America, just double click on it. And then it's going to open the proofing language dialog box for you. Then you just double click on English, South Africa. So that is how we set the proofing language. The second one is a modify the cover page as follows. Remove the black background from the image at the top of the page, and then move the alt text from the image with a caption, figure 1, company logo in the address bar or to the address control, right? So now this is the image given to you. Now they say you must remove the background image. And whenever you are dealing with images, when you click on it, it gives you the picture format. So this is remove background. You will see all the formatting there, remove background. And then you click on keep changes so that the background will be removed. Right. There are other things that you can do there. We have the picture border that you can set the border weight and then the border color. You can also crop it to a specific shape. Let's say you want to crop this picture to a shape. You can also crop it to shape. So watch out for that. You can also rotate them, flip horizontal or vertical based on what the question gives you. And then again, there are other one like the correction. with the brightness. Each of them has different name. You have to watch out for that. And then the artistic effect. Then also we have the transparency. Then we have the picture styles. Then the alt text, alternative text, and then picture position. So you need to watch out for that. Now, if you want to move the picture around, you must also change the layout to either square, tight, or through so that you'll be able to move the image around. Right. So now when you go to the alt text, according to the question, let's check the question once more. It says, move the alt text from the image with the caption figure 1, company logo, to the address control. So meaning the alt text was here for the image. And then you need to take it and then you now take it to the address control to put it here. So that figure 1 is here. Or they are referring to this image. Also, there are 2 images, so I think it's this one. Now, this figure 1, they say we must move it to the address control. And then sometimes there are other controls that will not be there. They will ask you to insert those controls. Right. Now, this one also has, okay, they are referring to this one. This one has alt text. They want you to move this one to the address control. So you copy this one, and then you come and put it inside the address control. Right. So this image, if you are asked to also remove the background, again, like I told you, just go to remove background, and then you keep it so that the background will be removed. So basically, that's how we manipulate images, cropping to shape and other things. Right, then the next question. Find the heading, our journey, and apply a new style to the heading as follows. Name the new style tag, and then add a 3pt paragraph border to the style. So we need to create a new style called tag, which we don't have here. So there are several ways of creating a style. First of all, you can just go to the search and type style. And then you click on this one to select the new style. Alternatively, you can just click on this arrow and then you click on this A with the plus, which is the new style. You say the new style should be tech. And then the style must have a 3pt border around it. So we go to format and then border, then you pick not a page border, just border, a 3pt. Let's say any border. They didn't specify what type of border, so you can select any line with a 3pt. Right, and then again, it says, yeah, that's all. Now, when you are done, you can take automatically update. This is the style, so we want to apply the style to our journey. So you select this journey, then you click on the tech new style. Right, so that's how we apply a style to a heading or to create and modify new styles. Right, sometimes also regarding the style, they can also ask you to modify a style. If the style is already there, you right click and choose modify. Then you can now change the style here. Remember this one, they can also give you a question whereby you might change the font of the style, or they can also ask you to change the text effect of the style. You go to text effect. Then they can ask you to also change the numbering of the style or paragraph of the style. So you must watch out for all these type of styles. So if you go to paragraph, they can ask you to also change it. So you must watch out for that type of questions. Now, the next one says, this one basically is the ruler settings. Now, you can see from the question paper, Techno Greek is starting from 1 centimeter. Then there is the first line indent. That means the first line has been pushed inside. Now, again, this one is 16 point something. So we go and select that paragraph. You click inside it. Then the first line, you take it to 1 centimeter. And then again, this one to 16. I think it's the same one. Then the over is also like that. You can see over, and then we are proud. And then this one also first line to 1 centimeter. Right, so that is what we have. So this is using the indent. Now, this question didn't ask you to put a border around it. If, let's say, they ask you to put a border around it, then that you have to use text box, insert, shapes, and then you choose text box. Then you'll be able to draw it around these 3 paragraphs. Now, the moment you do it, you know, text box is similar to images. So you need to click on the layout option and then you choose behind text so that the text box will be behind your text. Then this same one, you can also change the border of it. You can change the border of this particular one. How do we change that border? When you select it and then you go to shape outline, the weight, then you'll be able to change the width of that border. Right, if the question is asking you to put a border around it, so you must watch out for this type of question. Right, again, sometimes you can also have another text box, which I'm using to also explain. You can have the second text box. Now, let's say the text inside this text box here, you want it to overflow into the second text box. So when you click on it and then you go to shape format, you will see create link. Create link, that means you want to link the 2 text boxes. So when you click on create link, then you come and select the second text box. So now these 2 are linked. If I try to make this one to be smaller, because this one I put it around, if it was inside, then it was going to be, if I type inside this text box, because this one I made it as a border. If, let's say, there was a text box, let's say I put this one inside, then I create another text box. I want you to know the effect of linking text boxes. Now, if I want to link these 2 text boxes, I select the first one that already has text, then you click on create link, then you come and select the second text box. So these 2 text boxes will be linked. If I make it to be smaller, it will overflow into the second text box. That means they are linked together. That's how we create a link between 2 text boxes. So watch out for that type of question also regarding Microsoft Word. Now, find and replace with special. It says find and replace the word cost to display as this one info. Now use the symbol WebDance character code 209. Now, because of this, we need to first insert the symbol and then we cut that symbol. Now let's look at it. Remember the symbol name is WebDance character code 209. Right, so we insert that symbol. We go to insert symbol and then we go to more symbol. Then the font should be WebDance. And then the character code should be 209. Then you insert that symbol. Here is the symbol. Now, after you have inserted the symbol, you must cut it. So you select, you right click and choose cut. Now, when you insert that symbol and then you cut it, it goes to a temporary location called clipboard content. Now, with this clipboard content, you are going to use find and replace. So you can go to search and say replace, or alternatively, you can use Control H. Now, find what? According to one, it says courses. Let's check the question once more. Course, not courses, yes. And then replace with info, and before the info, that character must be there. So instead of you to say paste, which is Control V, or you right click and say paste, you click there and go to more, and then you go to special, then you choose clipboard content. So you see Control or Shift, and then you can also use Shift and Shift and C. That's the clipboard content, this one. What is going to happen is whatever that you cut or you copy will be here. So that's why we use clipboard content. Now, remember, the question says the exact word. That means it shouldn't be caused with something. So when we say find what, we have to take this one. Find whole words only. That's the exact word. Then after that, you can now go to replace all. So we got 44 replacements. So all the courses will now have that symbol together with info. So as you can see here, it has it together with info. Right. So that's how we do find and replace with special character. Again, there is also find and replace this time around, not only special character, but then you find and replace with applying a style to find and replace. Let's see. Let's say we are going to find the word info. And then we are replacing with, we don't type info again. Where it says replace with, you click there. Then you go to format. This time you choose style. Now we want a specific style applied to it. Let's say we want to apply a certain style. Let's say heading 1 style. Heading 1 character style. And then OK. Then you go to replace all. So all the info, they will apply heading 1 style to it. So that's how we apply a style to also a specific text when you are doing find and then replace. So you must watch out for that type of questions. Right, please don't forget to bring your question and answer. If you have any question, don't forget to bring the questions. You can type them in the comment section, and then I will assist everybody. So bring all your questions. And then I will address everybody's question. Right. Now, 1.6, find the citation below the subheading, what's data science? Make the necessary changes so that the citation appears as follows. Now, there was citation given to us. Then we need to make the changes to that citation. The question says it should be below the data science. Here is the citation. Then we need to make changes to the citation. Now, if you are given a citation and you want to make changes to that citation, you click on the citation options, which is the drop-down arrow. There are three options here. We have edit citation. That's when you want to make changes to the citation. Edit source, if you want to make changes to the source. Now, let's start from the edit source. Let's say the source is this one. We want to make changes, like we want to add the volume, or we want to change the title, or we want to change the author. We go to edit citation, then we do that. Right, maybe volume 2, then you can add all of them there. But if you are editing the citation, you choose the first one. Now, look at the screenshot. It says Saka, 2024, page 22. But here, we are having Saka, 2020 instead of 2022. So we need to first edit the source to 2022. That is according to the question. No, 2024, sorry. We have to edit to 2024. And then we now edit with this page. Page 22 is not there. So we have to edit the citation to include the page 22. So we go to edit citation, then the page we type 22. We don't have to put a P. Now watch out for this. They can sometimes ask you to suppress the year. That means don't include the year. You take this one. Whatever you take here, meaning that it will not be included in your citation. So here we have it. Let's say we did not want to include the 2024. Then we have to go to edit citation. Then we take suppress year. So you see now there's no year there. We can also suppress the author. So you must watch out for that type of questions also. Right. Now, what if they give you a question that you must add a source to your document? This is the citation. Now, to add a source, you go to search and type source, which is the source manager. Then you can now click on new source. Then you can now add your source, whether it's a website or it's a report. Then you can now add your source to your document. Right. Watch out for this. They can also ask you to change the tag name. Whenever you are adding the source, they can ask you to change the tag name. Then we move to the next question, 1.7. You were given a paragraph like this. Use one app image found in that, and then the size of the image to be the same as the size of other images. So what is app application development? They say we must go there. What is app application development here? And we need to insert an image. There are several ways of inserting image. You can use the long method, insert picture from this computer. Then you now go and insert the picture. Alternatively, you can just drag the image. This is the image. You drag it into that position. The image will also be there. There are two ways of doing that, inserting image. You can do drag and drop, or you can go to insert picture, then you bring the picture here. Now, very interesting, the question says this image size should be the same as the other images. So you must click on other images, go to picture format, then you see the size, which is 6 centimeters high and then 9 centimeters wide. So now we need to change this also. You know, at times some people can try to use this format painter, and then you come and put it, but it will not work. It will not change the size. It only does for the text. So here you need to only go back and change it. You click on the size, the drop down arrow. Then you remove this one, log aspect ratio, so that you can make the height to be 6 centimeters and then the width to be 9 centimeters. Then you press OK, so that you can have the exact size. Now we need to move it to the right, as you see on the screen. So we have to change the layout option to this one, which is square. Then you can now move it to the right. And then after that, we have to place this one around it. But normally check, this is 4 marks. So meaning inserting the picture is 1 mark, changing the height and then the width 2 marks, and then now you put them on the right hand side, 4 marks. So meaning the question does not want us to put the border around it. So the question doesn't require the border around it for the 4 marks. Always check the mark allocation. But then you can alternatively also put in, if you want to be at the safer side. But like I said, you must check the mark allocation. So you go to insert shape and then you choose the text box. Then you draw it. Then you change the text box layout to back, which is behind text. Then if they want you to put it as a 3pt weight, you go to the shape format and then you change the weight. Yeah, if the question wants you to do that, but then that is not what this question wanted us to do. But then I just want to show you how to put a text, an image, and then you place a border around them also. Right. Now, 1.8, find the word business below this one, and then mark all the occurrences. Whenever you see mark, that means index. Mark means index. So now we have to find the word business under the heading networking fundamentals. So we have to go to the word business under the heading networking fundamentals. So this is the word business. When you select the word business, and then mark entry is part of references, then you see mark entry. Business, sometimes they will ask you to also mark the sub entry. Now, here is very important. Say all the occurrences, not only that business. So we choose mark all. Mark all. So that all the businesses will be marked. Not only, if you click on only mark, it will only be for that particular business, but you say mark all. Why do we choose mark all? Because of all the occurrences. That means all the businesses should be marked as entry. That's how we do it. Then after marking an entry, you need to insert automatic index. Automatic index, and the question you must use the modern format. So index is always based on, now whenever you mark the index, you see XE. If you want to remove it, you just click on show or hide or paragraph mark so that you don't see that index. Now the list of all the marked entries are called index. So we come here and then we go to references, index, or you can just use search and type index. Now the question says you must choose the former one. And sometimes they can tell you to choose either columns, 1 column or 2 columns, or they can ask you to choose run in index. Run in index. So now this question wants us to choose modern format. They didn't specify the number of columns. Neither did they ask us to specify whether it should be indented or run in. So we can choose the default one, indented. And then we click on OK. So all the list of indexes will be there. Now you can see business. It was on page 7, page 11, and then page 16. So that's how we insert index. Similar to how we insert automatic table of content or table of figures. You can find them here also. Remember, table of content depends on heading styles. Table of figures depends on caption. And then index depends on mark entries. So you must watch out for that type of questions also. Right, now before I move to question 2, let's see if you have any question. Somebody said Excel and database, please. Yes, we will be getting to Excel and database now, and we'll try to solve every single question of Excel and database. Right, now question 2 is just a small question. We will not spend much time there. Then we'll go to spreadsheet and then database, trying to, but please be specific. Spreadsheet and database, what type of questions? Just mention them for me. Right. Now, this one is word art. I know word art is easier question. So question 2. Now you were given a word art prospectus. Now they want you to change it to act down transformation. Now when you click on word art, you see the shape format, and then you see this one, which is text effect. When you go to text effect, you are going to find transform. And then they say the follow path, act down. This is the one. So it should be like this. Now, the second one says change the page border to only appear on the first page. So the page border is there. It should only be on the first page. So again, the page border, you can find it from, you can just say borders and shading from search, and then page border. Now it says apply to the whole document, and you say first page only. So that the page border will only be on the first page. Then the next one says change the line spacing of the first paragraph to multiple of 1.4. Now the line spacing, this is the first paragraph. You click inside it. Line spacing is under paragraph, group, and then line spacing, multiple. Remember, we have at least, double, and all this. So you must specify the right one and say multiple of 1.4. You don't need to just be scrolling down. Just type 1.4 or 1.4 based on your things. Then you are done. And then the next question says we should change this T. And remember, this one is a drop cap. And look at the number of lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 lines were dropped and 0.2 centimeters from the text. So here is it for this T. You click inside it, then go to drop cap. Drop cap options, and then it should be 6 with 0.2 centimeters, and then okay. Right, now they can ask you to also remove the shading. So you know when you select it, the drop cap, to remove the shading. You can also do that. Now add a line between the columns on the second page. Column was given to us. Now they ask us to add a line in between. So you go to layout and then you see column, or alternatively, you can just use the search, then we choose line between. Now, if they ask you to put maybe something on top, let's say to put this one on top of the second page, you click in before it, then you go to layout, breaks, and then you choose column break so that it will be on top of the second column. The same way, if I want to push this one to the next column, you do the same, column break, so that they will be on top of each column. You must watch out for that type of questions also. Right. And then this is a table with some calculations. Now, this table was given to them, 2.6. The table was given to them. And then they said, use a formula. Use a formula to calculate 10% administrative fee of that. Now, there are several ways of doing this type of question. There are several ways of tackling this type of question. So this is the cost. And we want 10% of this cost. You can use bookmark 1 with a name range, and then you can use it to do the calculation, or you can just put the value. Now let me use the first one, which is the bookmark. Now when you select this number and then you go to bookmark, then you can give it a name. let's say cost, and then you add it. So I've given this place a name called cost. So when I come here and I want to do the calculation, I go to table layout, formula. Now it says sum above. Here we are not doing the sum, or we are doing the calculation here. So it should be 10 divided by 100 times cost. Remember, I named that place as cost. Then you are done. Very easy to bookmark and use for calculation. Alternatively, we could have done that also by going to formula. And then instead of to say this, you can say equals to 10 divided by 100 times 3,000. And then, okay. It will also give you the same answer. So either you use the bookmark name, or you can also use the value there to do the calculation, and then you get the answer right. Now, let's check here. This one, they put another one in the top 10 courses. They put a column here. It's already there, so they merge this one. Top 10 courses. They were merged up to here. And then you change the direction. You click on the direction. Yeah, you change the direction. Then also, I think that is all. The rest are having the borders. The inside border is fine. Now, sometimes they can tell you to also change the cell margin. Watch out for that type of question. Remember this question that you got, the main paper, the backup paper will be always similar, but they change it. So here is calculation. Maybe they can just ask you to change the cell margin. Let's say 1 centimeter cell margin. And okay. So they can ask you to also have a cell margin and then do other form of calculations also. Right. So the table, watch out for that. We have the table design and then the table layout. And we have auto fit if they ask you to auto fit them. Window and auto fit to content also. They can ask you to also maybe more or less change the properties, maybe center the entire table. So you must watch out for this type of questions also. Now let's move straight to smart art and how to do smart art. Then we wrap up with the page numbers, then also watermark. Now smart art. Now whenever you click on a smart art, they can ask you to, let's check the smart art. There's an arrow here. In between. So we need to draw an arrow in between this one. We have to insert a shape with an arrow. Right arrow. You can increase it. And then this one must not have anything in the middle. It should be white. And inside it, we put crate. So meaning we have to add text called crate. And learn and innovate. Inspire is there. Then there's one in the middle here. Also aim to create. Now you can see here, the stripe is there. Aim to create is not there. Or aim to create is here. Yeah, so this aim to create should be on the second one. It should not be under that one. Right, so we have create, so we can now add this one, another one, and this one should be create. But then the smart, when you go to smart add, this create here should be moved. We can use it to be as the indent, it should be moved. Remember, it should be the same as that one. So we can also have it to move it. So that should be the create one here, instead of us to put that one. So the create is here to move it, and then the aim is below. But now this create here must use, like this one, we use different shape. This one should have its own smart art shape. It should have its own smart art shape, which is this one. They use this one, the random one. And this crate, we put that shape around it. Behind text, and then this shape, we make it to be white. Right, so we put it as another shape so that it will be behind it. You must always, if this text pane is not there and you go to Smart Art Design, make sure you click on text pane so that you can have this one to make changes to whatever that the question requires you to do. Right. And then now make sure the page numbering in the footer appears on all the pages. Set the page number of the last page to be 1, 2 Roman numerals. So now the page number was inserted, and the question says should be on all the pages. So meaning here, there should be page number. There should be page number. Don't forget to choose the same format. So here there should be page number. This one should be linked to previous. The page number was here. Now the page number should be there for all of them. Make sure you choose the same format. Now 3, 2, based on the page number that the question requires you to choose. So we need to choose this page number format. Right, but then it's asking us to the last page to be Roman numerals. Yes, so here's the last page to be Roman numerals. So meaning we must remove the link to previous for the last page. And then we now go back to the page number and we format it to be Roman numbers. The other pages will be 1, 2, 3, only the last page. And the trick is you must remove the link to previous so that you separate this one from the rest of the pages. Now, sometimes they can tell you the odd numbers should be to the left, even numbers to be the right. So that when you take different odd and even. So that this is odd number. Let's say we want to take it to be the left. Then you go to the alignment to the left. Then an even number, you go and insert the page number, bottom, and then you now change it to the right. So the even number to the right, odd numbers will be to the left. Right, so that is how we insert page numbers, by changing them. Maybe the odd number to be to the left, even number to be to the right, when you take different odd and then even. Now, there's also an interesting type of Microsoft Word whereby they can ask you to insert properties to the header. Now, when you double click on the header, you see different properties: the date and time, the document info, like the file name, the file path. They can ask you to put the file path. They can ask you to also put the document properties, like category and other properties. Now, they can ask you to also put the number of words and others. So you have to watch out for that. We call them field. If you were asked to insert a field, you go to the search and type field. Then you pick a specific field. Let's say we want to find the field called the number of pages. Number of pages. Then to give the number of pages as a field. So watch out for that type of questions also. That is all about Microsoft Word. The rest. So if you have any question about Word, don't forget to add them. Otherwise, we are moving straight to spreadsheets. Somebody said, can you please redo the replace with the word info? Like I said, you must first insert. Let's say we want to replace the word tech with something else. So you insert the image. It could be image or a symbol. So we go to insert symbol, more symbols. Let's say Webdance character code 230. Now, when you insert the symbol, you cut it. You cut the symbol, you select, you right click and choose cut. Now, when you cut the symbol, it goes to clipboard content. So if you go to find and replace, home, replace, find what word are we finding? Maybe tech. We are replacing with. So you don't have to say paste. You don't have to say right click and paste. No, you go to more, special, then you choose clipboard content. Clipboard content means whatever that you have cut, it will be on the clipboard. And then you can also alternatively put this, if you don't know it, Shift and 6 and then C. That's clipboard content. Then maybe you want the word tech also to be there. Then replace all. So now they have put those words there together with the text. So you see the symbols next to text. So that's how we do that, find and replace. Now, there's also another special thing called watermark. Let's say I want to put watermark, a symbol watermark, only on a specific page. Now, you can see that I have to first insert the symbol. Let's say this symbol. I want this symbol to be the watermark. So I insert it. Then I will cut the symbol. Then we go to watermark. And then custom watermark. So when you are here, text watermark, instead of you to put the text here, you right click and choose paste. So you are going to paste the symbol there. And then the font should be that symbol, which is Webdance. And then they can ask you to choose the size. Let's say 200. Let's say the color to be red. And then apply. So now we will have that watermark, that symbol to be the watermark, the key symbol to be as our watermark. Now, if we want only the watermark to be on the first page, we want the watermark to only be on the first page. The watermark should only be on this first page. Then we need to double click on the header and footer for the second page. Then we take different first page, which is very important. Then you go to page 2. You must make sure that watermark, you have the footer and then the header. Then you go and select the watermark and you press delete. So the watermark is on the first page. The second page I've deleted. Third page is there. You go there again. Make sure that your footer and header is activated. You select the second watermark, delete. Again, you delete. We want it to only be on the first page. So the watermark is only on the first page. If they want it to be on a specific page, then you have to put what called a section break to divide them. So, which is the same. If there's a first page only, you must you must always put a different first page, then you delete the other watermark. Right, so that is all about Microsoft Word. We will also look at developer, and then I think that is question 7. Then we are done with Microsoft Word. Is there any question? If there are no questions, I will move straight to spreadsheet. This video will be available after this lesson. You can watch them and then also watch other videos that I made before the first paper was written. Right. Now let's move straight to spreadsheet. Now, when it comes to spreadsheet, you must look out for the following. 1, sheet management, renaming, merge and center, orientation. All these are sheet management, and then formatting, freeze pane, autofill, spreadsheet feature called data validation. Then the functions like count ifs, sum ifs, lookup, V and then H or X lookup, concatenate, the text functions, conditional function, formatting, subtotal, nested if, together with and then all functions. Then also chart, and then date and time calculations. Right. Without wasting much time, let's move straight to the question 3. Now, it says, center the content of the worksheet horizontally and vertically. So I'm going to open 3 lectures. Right. Now we should center this content horizontally and vertically. That means when you click on it, the question says lectures worksheet. Yes. And then center the contents of the worksheet. So it means all of them. The content, not the headings. These are the contents of the worksheet. So you select them. And then this is horizontal center, and that one is vertical center. So you must center them horizontally and vertically. Insert a function in D3 to determine the total number of lecturers. Now, whenever you see total means counting. Total count. Total number. When you see total only, it is sum. If you see total plus number, it is count. So total number of lecturers in D3. All these are lecturers. So we want the total number. We use counter or count. So counter is for alphabet, so equal sign, counter. Then I select all the lecturers' names. You can choose any column, whether the names, column B, column C, or column D. It doesn't matter, you're gonna get the same answer. So I got 55. Now, if you use column H, you can use counter and also use count. Another learner could have also used count, and then you select column H because they have numerical values, which is also going to give you 55. So count is for numbers. Count A is for alphabet or text. Now, the next question, insert a sum if function in D5 to determine the total monthly salary. Now, they could have just ignored this one and say insert a function to determine the total monthly salary. Now, when you see total without a number, then it is what? Sum. Then when they attach a condition, always look out for the total marks there. When the marks are from 4 and 5, that means it is sum ifs. If the marks are maybe 4 and they said only the total number, then you have to use the count ifs. Now, they want the total monthly salary paid by South African lecturers who work full-time. That is why it is sum ifs. That means the conditions are more than one. So we want those South Africans that work full-time. So meaning, where can we find South African? In column E, we have South African and we have the foreigners also. So here, we will need column E and then we will need column F also. Why do we need column F? Those who work full-time. And then the question is the total monthly salary. That means we will need column H also. So we need 3 columns. So in other words, the column H, because the question is the total monthly salary, the column H now becomes the sum range. So here will be our sum range. That is sum column. And this one, these two are criteria range. Criteria range 1, you can just change them. 2. So criteria range 1, this one could have also been criteria range 2. And then for criteria range 1, we are looking for South African. So you have to break them down like that. And here, criteria range 2, we would pick full-time from it. Once you break it down like that, your answers become easier. Now let's look at that. So we use sum ifs, equal sign, sum ifs, double click on FX, and then you click on FX. So the sum range, like we said, sum range is the monthly salary. You select them. Whenever you see range, range means the values under that column. And then the criteria range 1, we said the nationality. And what criteria are we looking for here from the range 1? South African. Now, I want to show you this. South African, it begins with letter S. So you can alternatively put the first 3 letters and say star SOU star, because South African begin with SOU. We put star before and star after, meaning contains. Contains. Now, criteria range 2, you select the employment. And then the criteria, star, because we are looking for full-time, star FUL star. Like I said, pick the first 3 letters in order to be safe. So we got this. Instead of you to type South African in full, we just say SOU, but then star before and star after. That means it contains SOU. Now, when you come here also, FUL, that's the full time. It contains FUL. So that's how we deal with the sum ifs. Now, if it was count ifs, also count ifs, the difference between count ifs and sum ifs is that count ifs, we don't have the sum range. We only have the criteria ranges. So you see criteria range 1, criteria range 2, criteria range 3, and then it can be so many ranges. Right. The next question, insert a formula in D7 to calculate the difference between the highest monthly salary and the second highest monthly salary. So here we are looking for the highest monthly salary and then the second highest monthly salary. Now you find a difference. That is why they have given you the building block. So we can use the building block to also solve that particular question for us. First of all, we need to find the highest monthly salary. So we use large, equal sign, large, and then the array is the range. You select the monthly salary. K, because we are looking for the largest, the highest, so K will be 1. That's the first. In other words, when you arrange them from highest to the smallest, the one that will be in the first position, that is the K. So this will be the highest. Then you do the same for second highest, which is large again. The array is the monthly salary. And then the K will be 2, the second highest. Now, when we have both here, we can now put our answer here. Difference means minus. So equal sign, you click on the bigger value minus the second biggest value. Then you have your answer. So this should be the answer. Let's check this one, the range. It started from there. Good. Right. So that's how we find the difference means subtract. So you need to first find the highest and then the second highest. Now, modify the function in C15 to extract the first name of the lecturer. Now, let's check the first name of the lecturer. Look at the heading here. It says surname, comma, first name. That means the first part is the surname followed by the first name. So meaning the first name is on our right-hand side. The first name is on our right-hand side, which is Amanda. And then the surname is the one on the left-hand side. So we want the first name only. Now this question says len. They have given us len already. So meaning we need other functions. Now when the question says modify, that means you need to make changes to that. So you come here, equal sign, you can click on your len, the answer here, which is the len value. Use building block to solve them step by step. So you have the len. And because we are taking from the right-hand side, we need len and then we need find. Now, first of all, what is separating the name from the surname is the comma. So there's comma separating the name and surname. So you need to use find to determine the position of that comma. So equal sign, find text. What text are we finding? That's the comma. Within which text? Within this one. So we are finding the position of the comma, which is separating the name and surname from this text, which is B15. So we got a value for find and we got a value for len. Len is the total number of characters. Now, after that, you subtract the value for find from the value for len, which is equal sign. This value for find or the len minus the value for find. So we got 12. That will be the number of characters. So now, with this, we could have gotten our answer here. Equal sign, right. Why do we need the right function? Because we are taking the name from the right-hand side. The text will be the name and surname put together. The number of characters will be this 12, the one you separated. So this one should be B15, sorry, B15. And then the text, the number of characters will be the value for 12, which is M15. So now we are having them. Remember we said learn. Let's check again. It's giving us something with Amanda. So meaning this one here is a len of B15. Len of B15, which is 19, the whole thing. And then here we are determining the position. Good. And then the find of the comma. Let's check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The position is giving us a problem. Let's check again. The find here was, yeah, it gave us should be B15 or 14. Sorry. This should be B14. And now the difference will give us 7. Yes, sorry for that. I used wrong row. This is B. Find the comma from B15 from this one. So the position of that comma there was 12. So here we got our answer, which is Amanda. We got our answer, which is Amanda. Now, if the question wanted us to find the name, which is on the left-hand side, then we're going to say equal sign left. And then the text will be B15. The number of characters. Here, we don't use find minus, we don't use the len function. When you are taking from the left-hand side, we rather use the value for find, and then you say -1. Why do we choose -1? To exclude the comma. So if you are to extract the one on the left-hand side, we use the left, and then the number of characters we use the value for find. But if you need to get the one on the right-hand side, we use right, then the number of characters we use the len minus find. So that's how we must get that answer. But here, because they wanted us to modify, you can do it here because we have modified the text. You have made changes to that. And then you got Amanda. Alternatively, we could have done that straightforward here by going to fx. And then we go just before equal sign, then you say right. Then you can double click on that right. And then you click on fx. So right function. Now the text here is not the left because we are modifying it. So there is len of that must be in the number of characters. And then the text will be B15. And then the number of characters will be the len of B15, which we have already there, minus find, which we have our find value. So the find value is already here. And then we got our answer, Amanda, because they wanted us to modify it in that cell. Or you can use the building block to also solve your question. Then after that, you bring it here. You only be penalized at least 1 mark. But if not, just make the changes here in that particular cell. Right, that is all about it. Text functions. Again, watch out for text functions that involves concatenate. Let's say we wanted to combine all these together. So we're just going to say equal sign, then you click on this. Now to concatenate, you press shift and then 7. You click on maybe the second one. Shift and then 7. Maybe they say rand between, random numbers. Double click on rand between. You click on fx. Maybe rand between from 1 to 100. So the bottom will be 1 and then the top will be 100. So that's how we concatenate also by using the end, which is shift and then 7. That's the end to concatenate them together. So watch out for this type of questions also. Now let's check the next question. A full-time lecturer who are paid a monthly salary of between 25,000 to 40,000 will receive a once-off bonus of 5,000. Calculate the bonus in I-14 that a lecturer will receive. If a lecturer will not receive any bonus, the cell must be left blank. Now, you might break this one down. It says when it's from 25,000 up until 40,000. Then they will receive a bonus of 5,000. Now, all other amounts, that's all others. They must make it empty cell. That means no bonus. Now, we can achieve this one in too many ways or several ways. We can use, this is nested if. We can use if together with n function. Why are we using if and n function? Because it has the start value and an end value. So this one meaning that between, it means greater than or equals to 25 or 25,000 and less than or equals to 40,000. So there are two conditions put together. So we use if and then and together. Right. Now, I can solve this question in a simple way by again using building block. I can use building block here by combining them by using n function. So here I will start with the n function, equal sign end. Then I click on fx. So the first logical condition says when this value is greater than or equals to 25,000, and second logic, H1 is less than or equals to 40,000. So you can have several conditions that you can put them together. So I have combined these two together. Then okay. So it's gonna give me true or false. If I drag down, you see this one giving me true, others are giving me false. Right. Now, after this, then I'm going to put the function here for the bonus. Equal sign if. So you can use if or ifs after you have gotten this one. So if logical text, you click on this one. If M11 is equal to true, don't put true in inverted comma because is a boolean or an answer from a certain condition. So you don't put it in inverted comma. It's not a text. So if M1 is equal to true, then I must put 5,000. Otherwise, I must leave it empty. Empty means you press the space bar, go back and click here so that it will have inverted commas for you. So this one gave me empty because it is false. Now, when I drag down 5,000, this one gives me 0 because it is true. Wait, let's see if it's equal to true, 5,000, otherwise empty. If M11 equals to true, it should give me 5,000. Good. So here, if I drag down 5,000, I don't need to put the rent symbol. So 5,000. So you can see here, all the falses will give me empty. The truths will give me 5,000. Right. So that's how we use nested if when you have so many conditions put together. We could have also used or function. They could have given a question whereby it demands or function. So you can also get a situation whereby you need to use or function and then XOR. So equal sign or function, you can also use that. And then you put the logical text. That is this one greater than or equal to 25,000, or the same amount value there less than or equal to 40,000. Then it's going to give you true or false. Then after that, use the if function to also determine the statement. So that's how we use if functions also. So I can now come here and say equal sign if. You click on FX. Logical text, when this value here equals to true, then we put 5,000. Otherwise, we leave it empty. You press the space bar and then go and click there so that you have the inverted commas. So you see here, it gives me 5,000. Why? That means either it is greater or equals to 5,000 or less than that. And this value is greater than 20,000. That's why I got the 5,000 here. Here is the true value given to you because of the or function. This one gave me false because of the and function. That means that both conditions must be true before you get the value here as true. Right. So that's how we use if together with and function, or if together with or any other logical functions. Use building blocks to break them down into true or false. Then you come and put the answer over here. Right. Now let's move straight to, so that's all about question 3. Let me check if there's no question. Then I'll proceed with the spreadsheet again. Right, there are no questions, so I will proceed. Now, question 4 for students. But before we go to question 4 for students, I would like to also use the opportunity and explain the concept of freeze pane. Now, let's say we want to freeze pane from 1 to 10 should always be on top. So you go to row 11, and then freeze pane you get from view, and then you choose freeze pane, then you choose freeze pane. So when you scroll down, 1 to 10 will always be locked, and then the rest will always vanish when you scroll down. So that's how we apply freeze pane. Then I move straight to for students. I move straight to for students. Now, the first question, change the tab color to any color of your choice. That's the sheet management. So the tab color of this, you right click, you see tab color to any color of your choice. Don't forget, they can even ask you to protect it or to move it to a new worksheet. Let's say I want to move this one. I click on move or copy to maybe to a new workbook. You go there, you see new workbook. Then it can take you to that particular workbook. So watch out for that type of questions also. Right. They can also ask you to link it to another worksheet so that when you go there to do linking, hyperlink for you. Now, let's move straight to the next question. Use a spreadsheet feature that will allow the heading in row 3 to remain on top when you scroll down. That's called freeze pane. Freeze pane. So I move to row 3. They say row 3 should always remain on top. So you must move to the next row, which is row 4. And then you go to freeze pane. So when I scroll down, 1 to 3 will be locked. Then the next question. Student can pay for the course on monthly basis for a year or pay the full cost at once. Now, insert a formula in F5 to calculate the monthly cost for the course. Make sure that the amount is displayed in 2 decimal places. Now here, 2 decimal places. They did not specify whether it should be formatted or it should be rounded up. You're using a function. But because of the formula here, you can format it. But then if a learner also round it, that learner will not be penalized because the question didn't specify that it should be formatted or use a function. Now, here is our F5. Now, according to the question, it says, monthly cost for the course. Now, you can see this is the term. Now, 250. This is F5. And then the courses are here. All right. So you can see they use the cost as against. Now, the question did not tell you must use that particular lookup. It says, let's say, student can pay for the course on a monthly basis for a year or pay the full cost at once. So either monthly or the whole year. So now they have the cost per course is here. And then the monthly one. So you can see this is 3,000 and then they are going to pay monthly by 250. So meaning there was a division, 3,002. So this is just the term, not the number of terms. So this is the division, equal sign, this one, divided by 12, which gives us 167. Now, the question says we must, why do we divide by 12? Because there are 12 months per year. Now, this is the full cost. So to each term or each month, you divide by 12. Now, they say we must format it. So we can go to the number format. And then the decimal place, we change it to 2. Alternatively, we could have just used the round function also. You click just after equal sign, then you type round. Don't finish typing, then you just double click on FX and click on this FX. So the number of digits to be 2. But now it doesn't give us, so we have to go and check here also to 2 decimal place because they are formatted to 0. Right. Now, 4.4, modify the conditional formatting in column E as follows. Display a red cross icon if the student attended or attend training in the second half. Otherwise, display a green check icon if the student attend training in the first half of the year. So this is the icon set. This is icon set. So now the question says second half of the year, we put the red. First half icon, we put if the student attended in the second half of the year. Otherwise, we put the green if they attended in the first half. So the first half is from 1 up until 2, and the 3 and 4 will be the second half. So we can, to modify conditional formatting, you go to conditional formatting, you see manage rules. If you don't see them here, you must go here and choose this worksheet because we are working from this worksheet. And then you click on edit rule. Now look at the rule, they choose icon set. Now the question says red cross icon. So the icon should be a cross one. So we have to look for the cross icon. We need to look for the cross icon. Or here is it. Here are the crosses here. That's the red cross and then the green one also. So now the question says the first half red cross and then the second one is the check, green check. So here is the red cross and the second one is the green check. Okay. So now here, it shouldn't be the formula here. It should be number. So when this one is greater or equals to, let's check again. The first half is from 1 to 3. What should be greater? So it should be less than, greater or equals to 1. And then this one should be greater or equals to 4. Go 1 to 3, and then 3 and above. Range number is greater or equals to 1. Let's check the range also. The range could have been a problem. E4 to E43. Red cross and this one. Because when you say the formula is 2 times 3, which is 6, greater or equals to 2 times 3, that is too much. And that should be greater or equals to 4. And then when it is less than 4, also we put a check. No, greater or equals to 4 should be the check. And then this one should be less than 4 should be the cross also. Yeah. And then go to apply. So that should be the right one. Let's go back and check again. Manage. So you can see this worksheet, edit rule. Greater or equals to 4. That means the second half. 4, 5, 6. And then here. Oh, but there are 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So it should be greater. Sorry, I made a mistake. It should be greater because 1 and 2 is the first term. 3 and 4 is the second term. So greater or equals to 3. And then this one will be less than 3. Yeah. Yeah. So 1 and 2 will always pick the cross. So that should be the right one. 3 and 4 will take its own, and 1 and 2 will be the cross. So it should be greater or equals to 3, and then also less than or equals to less than 3 will pick the 1 and 2, which is the cross one, so that we have it proper. So 3 and 4 will be checked, and then the crosses are 1 and 2. So that's how we do the icon set. They wanted us to modify it. So there are other options that you can get other type of questions also. Now use a VLOOKUP or use a lookup. Here they didn't specify what type of lookup. So you can use X or you can use VLOOKUP. To display the cost of the cost for WP Ntembu, use the information in the cost worksheet. So here, we want to display the cost for this person. And then we are using this table. So here it is in horizontal. That means H lookup. If it is vertical, it is VLOOKUP. How would you know whether it's vertical? This is how the vertical looks like. Vertical is in column like this one. This is vertical. We have the cursors in column B, this and that. Now here we have to use VLOOKUP. This one, it is H lookup. But any of them, we could have also used what we call the X lookup. X lookup. Now, remember, we need to bring the cost here by referring to the cost, because we have the cost over here. We also have the full time or part time. And then we also have the cost. So we can use these two. Now, in order to do that, I want to first use the X lookup, then I will use also H lookup. Now, if you want to use X lookup, you have to give them separate names. So you select all the courses, only the courses, you right click, define name, give it a name. I can give it a name as A. Then I select the cost. Also, you right click, define name. I can give it a name as B. So you separate them. Then when it comes to this place, equal sign X lookup, equal sign X lookup, then FX. And then the lookup value will be the cost. The lookup array is the A, which is the courses. Normally the lookup value is from the courses also. Then the return array will be the B, the second one. And then okay. Very simple. Now, if you are getting hashtag, you put -1 as the match mode. Alternatively, we could have also used H lookup, but then when you are dealing with H lookup, you need to select the entire table. You right click and choose define name. Let me give it a name as D. Then I come and use equal sign H lookup. Why H lookup? Because the table was horizontal. Now the lookup value is the cost for this particular person, which is cyber security. The table array, the name of the table, which is D. Then the row, which row am I picking the values from? That's row 3. Now let's see. If I choose row 1, I'm getting the computer literacy, which is wrong. If I choose row 2, I'm getting full-time or part-time. That means the costs were in the 3rd row. So normally you can, if you make a mistake, check your answer, then you make the adjustment. Right, now here it gives me 1,005. So I'm going to choose this one as false. False, which is the exact match. Now, so I got a 3,000 as the right answer. Let's move on to the next question, which is the graph. 4.6. Graph was given to us, and then we were told to modify them based on different terms. Now let's check. We check here, it starts from 0 up until 7,000. 0 up until 7,000, that's the right one. Now, instead of the terms, term 1, term 2, term 3, they are giving us the names. So these ones here were wrong. It's supposed to give us the courses for each. Right. So they swap this one. As we can see here, the horizontal and these ones were different. So all that you do is you switch the rows. You right click on this one. And then you go to select data. Then you go to switch row or column to change them, to switch the rows. And then again, the mobile app was not showing. So the mobile app must be there. So we tick mobile app and then we switch the rows. Then okay, so that you can have all of them. Right. And then again, this one should not be vertical like that. Now, when you go there, it's a trend line. I think should be 2-point exponential. That's the fourth one. Or a different line for term 4. Sorry, it's a line for term 4. It is not a trend line. It is a line for term 4. So it's this one for term 4. When you select, and then you go to change chart type. Now, the term 4, let's check term 4, is a line. They chose this line. And that one was not having also that markers. And it's not a stacked one. Okay, so we'll change the formatting. But now, we don't see any series there. We don't see any series that side. So this line here, we need to change them. Not the axis there. I think it should be the smooth line. Yes, it should be smooth line, not just a straight line. It should be a smooth line. So we have to take the smooth line for that. You must watch out for all this. Whenever you click on it, you must go to format that particular point that you get the options there. They can ask you for so many, the rounded cap and all of them. So you must watch out for that. And then the lines also here. these grid lines, they were dashes. They were dashes. So you click on it and you check is there big dashes. So you must check which dash type, the big one. Yeah. Always you make sure that you choose the right one to represent. When you click on it, you right click on what you want to do, you go to format, and then you'll be able to change that type. Right, so that is all about this graph. That's all about graphs. Always watch out for that. When you select on it, you will see there are so many things, the gaps and others. They can tell you 3D graph and change the cone and other things. They can even ask you to also change the data points here. And then they can also reverse order to change it from the reverse order. They can also ask you for secondary axis. When you go to change chart type, you will see secondary axis. Which one to choose? Right, so you must watch out for that type of graphs. I think that is all for that spreadsheet. Now, there's a spreadsheet question before you go to database. There's a spreadsheet question on question 7. We will look at that. And then mail merge was also there for Microsoft Word. We will look at that. Now, let's go to question 7. 7 stat that involves spreadsheet calculation. So I'm going to move to 7 stat. Right. We're given this question. And then they say, when you click on this drop down arrow, there should be a drop down arrow, and these options must be there. And then the total income must give you this. Then they gave us the option to calculate the total income. Now, we don't see that arrow here. And those options, they told us to be in the courses. The instructions were given to us here. Use a formula in AA to determine the total income for web design. So the total income, we have to find the total income for web design, which is the sum if. So that should be the first thing we must do. Total income for web design, we have to use that one here. We have the number of students given to us. And then this one, so we are going to multiply equal sign, the number of students multiplied by this value to give us the total income. So you can see it's giving us the right answer. Now, after this, the second question says, create a data validation drop-down list in B5 and use the list in the course worksheet. So here, we have to have an options, the list. So when you go there, data validation, you get from data, and then you find data validation. Alternatively, you can just search, then you go to data validation. Now, whenever there are options, we choose this one that says list. When you want to pick option, we use list. And then the source of the value, you click there, the arrow, to go and select the source. They say the source is in the courses worksheet. Then you press enter and then enter. So now the arrow will be here. When you click, it gives you all those options. Sometimes if that particular option, another one is not there, you add it here, then you select them. So watch out for that. There is also another type of data validation whereby they will restrict you. That is called validation rule. Also, when you go to data validation, and then instead of any value, we have the whole number or text length. Let's say the whole number should be greater than or equals to 10. Let's say greater than or equals to 15. Then they will give you a question about input message. Only students from 15 allowed. Now, this is 13, it's not 15. So meaning some of the data are errors. It's going to give you an error. So when you go back to data validation, from data, and then you go to data validation, you will see circle invalid data. It will circle all the data that's invalid, that's outside the condition. So that's how we apply the data validation also. Now, so we are done with these two. Let's go back to our question. After the data validation, modify it to calculate the total income percentage per course based on the type. So here we want the total income percentage. They use sum if. So you click on FX to modify it. Range will be where you are picking a criteria from. So this is the range, which is column B. Then the criteria, we are looking for web design, not at web design. Web design, or you can just click on this web design, which is fine. Some range will be this one. Then okay, you see it doesn't give us 0, but now we want it to be as a percentage so that the total income per course is automatically calculated based on the type of course selected in this one. Okay, so here we cannot put just web design. So here selected web design. So this one, we can't just say web design. It should be this. Good. So meaning when we select artificial intelligence, the value will change. So we need to click on that one, not type in web design. And then after that, we want the percentage. Now, percentage means divided by, so this is the total for all the web design, divided by the entire total, which is here, grand total. So this one divided by the grand total, which is this one. But remember, the grand total, we can make it absolute by putting the dollar sign. Or we can just define name. So this is the right answer that we got from here, as you can see here. So you are supposed to divide. So if you don't divide by, you lose the last mark. So if you select the second one, the values will change. The percentages will change. So that is all about that question. Now, the next spreadsheet. This question, those learners who did math or even math late, sequence, and series. Now, they said the students who completed the course will collect their certificate in an allocated time slot on a specific day as follows. Times are between 7 up to 10 o'clock inclusive. 7 to 10, that means between. Now, slots are in intervals of 15 minutes. 15 each. There will be 12 intervals. So meaning between 0 and then 12 intervals. So we can use when the time is 0 or when the interval is 0, the time is 7, the start time. When it's 1, 15, 7, 15, that means they add 15 minutes. So each of them, the minutes will be multiplied by 15. Now, we can do this question here. Yeah, we are doing it here. They gave a time function, so we need to modify this time function. We can do it, so we click on fx. So the hour, because we start from 7, so the hour should be 7. The minute, that is where, because the minutes are increasing by 12. So that one will be between, when it is 1, we multiply by 15. When it is 2, multiply by 15, get 30. When it is 3, you multiply 3 by 15, 45. So we have to use range between 0 and 12. So for the minute, we need to use a function called range between. You open bracket, and then go and click in the formula bar here, just after the range between. 0 bottom and top is 12. Then we go back to our time. So this range between here must be multiplied by 15. Then why 15? Because of increment of 15 minutes. So you multiply by 15. Then the second will remain 0. There we go. So when I double click and I press enter, it keeps on changing. It will never go beyond 12. It will always stay between this limit up to 12. So here was a combination of time and then also range between. Remember, you can also get a question whereby they want you to extract the hour, extract the minute, like here. You can get a question whereby they want you to extract the day from there. So equal sign the day of this. They can ask you to extract the day, and that equal sign the day of this one. They can ask you to extract the month of it, and then also extract the year. So now, if they want a specific date, you use the function called date, just like the way we use the time. Date, so the year is this one, the month is that, and then the day is this one. So if the question says 3 years after, you go there and say plus 3. So to give you the new date. 3 years after this date will now be 2028, 21st March. So you must watch out for that. You must always use the time or the day function, the month, and then the hour function to extract them. Take out for that. Any question on spreadsheet? If there are no questions on spreadsheet, we are moving straight to database. You must watch out for these type of questions. You might be getting similar questions like that, and what other calculations. Right. If there are no questions, we are moving straight to database. Hopefully by 7:30, we will be done with database so that you have enough time to watch the video and practice again. Now we move straight to database question, which is 5 records. Open the table 5_1 and make the following changes. Change the row height to 20 pt. So this is 5_1. Double click. Now they want us to change the row height to 20 pt. You right click on the row and then you see row height, then 20. Change or fill every alternative row with any blue color. Now alternative row and then other things, we use what we call format cell. There are 2 ways of doing that. You can get it under text formatting. There's an arrow, then you see alternate row. with the color that you want to choose. We have background color also. They can ask you background color and grid line colors. They can also ask you to remove grid line, maybe vertical or horizontal grid line. They can ask you to change the cell effect either to raised or sunken. So you must watch out for that type of question also. You must watch out for that type of question. Now, so they can ask you to sort. Those are all part of the data sheet view. They can also ask you to change the totals, maybe to find the number, use count. To get a number, use the totals. Now let's go back to the design view. Edit the contact number field as follows. Now, before we go there, remember freeze pane and all those things can also be applied here. So you have to take note of that. They can ask you to freeze a specific field or a specific row also. Edit the contact field as follows. So we have to change it, right click and change it to design view. Now the question says we must edit the contact field as follows. Change the property to make the field compulsory. Compulsory meaning required, yes. The field property to make something compulsory required, yes. So the contact number, the field property is required, you choose yes. And then add an input mask to accept a contact number in the format this. Now, input mask numbers we use 0 to represent number. Always don't forget to refer to the input mask sheet. Every 0 represents a number. When you use L, it represents a letter, so you can always refer to the input mask sheet. 0 represents digit, which is compulsory. 9 represent digit or space, which is optional. Hashtag represent digit or space, which includes minus and then plus symbol. L is a letter which is compulsory. Question mark, a letter which is optional. Capital A goes to small a. Letter or digit. That means it can pick a letter or it can pick a digit. And then this N symbol here is any character or space, which is compulsory. Capital C, any character or space, which is optional. So these two, all this you must always refer to when you are dealing with input mark sheet. Now, this question told us to make it 10 digits, but there's a space in between. After every 3, there's a space. So you put 10 0 input mark. So the space, second 3 and space, and then last 4. This should be the input mark character sheet. I want to just enlarge it to see. So for the cell phone number given to the input mask will be first 3 zeros, space, second 3 0, and then last 4 0. So you must always refer. 0 represent compulsory number. Then the next question, it says, insert a new field called photo below the qualification field. Make sure that the image is inserted in database. That's OL qualification. That means it's going to replace leave date. So you right click on leave date and you choose insert rows. Then you type the name, which is called photo. And then because the question is embedded, that means it should be OLE object. OLE object stores pictures in any multimedia. Right. And then set the properties of the leave date field to only accept dates from 1st September to 31st January. So the leave date to only accept date from 1st September to 31st January 2026. So the leave date, that's the validation rule, accept. So it's between 1st September, that's 01/09/2025, and 31/December/2026. You type the date and you use the keyword between. When you know the start date and then the end date, the validation rule, we use this between 01/09/2025 and 31st December 2026. We use the keyword here between. Between goes with end. This one is similar to the query criteria be there automatically. Hashtag will be there automatically. And then they want us to put a descriptive message, which is the validation text. So the validation text, the appropriate one, you must always mention the date name. Here, the date is the leave date. So it's a leave date from 1st or 01/September 25 to 31st December 2026 allowed. You must mention the field name, and then you don't say between again. It's two. If you know the start value and then also where it's ending. Right. Now, we move straight to the next one, which is 5.2. Modify the FRM 5_2 based on that. Now we need to modify this particular one so that it looks exactly as you see. Now, we're given here with a form in design view, image, they have an image, and then the next record also there, the entry form. So the entry form is there. And then the next record must also be here. So now we need to put a control, which is the action button. And then it's a record because it says next record. So it's a record navigation. And then we choose add new record. So it should be next record. Find next. And then the descriptive message should be next record. So we choose a text and then we type next record. You can type also. And then we finish. So you see next record will be here. This image must also be there. Now let's check whether it looks exactly as we see. Yeah, and I don't know whether they want us to also put this one there, but you see send names and all of them are there with an image also that on the right hand side. So we can also put, if you want us to put a border around it, we can put any rectangular border around it also, which is this one. If the question says so, we can put them. Then sometimes they can also ask you to arrange them to be stacked, but this is already stacked. So the arrange doesn't work also. So the formatting, they can ask you to put conditional formatting. They can also ask you to change validation rule and input mask. Let's say the input mask for the contact number, you go there, you will see input mask, default value, data validation, validation text. So just like in table, they can also ask you, but you can get them in the properties worksheet. You just right click on them and then you see them on the properties worksheet. Right. Now 5.3, create a query called QRY5 underscore 3 based on the TBL table. Now, you have been given a question and then they want you to create a query as you see over there. Now look at the query. We have the name, surname, and then we have the progress. Now we have to check that they are looking exactly as you see. Now you can see that the progress says terminated. That means the criteria for progress is terminated. As for the name and surname, there was no criteria. Look at the total mark there. It's 2 marks. That means we have to only put the criteria as terminated. Right. Now let's go and check. That is 5. They say we must create. So to create a query, you go to create, query design. And then the question says it should be based on TBL student. You double click on TBL student. Now we have the first one as name. You double click on name, surname, and then terminated, which is part of progress. Now, in order for you to put a criteria, sometimes they can ask you to sort. Now, we are looking for terminated. You must run it and see. We are looking for terminated. Now, if you're looking for terminated, the criteria, we can also use like the way we use wildcard. The way we use wildcard, you can say star, TER star. That means it contains terminated. You can use that one also. So star, TER star. So we have only terminated. Always pick the first 3 letters. You put a star before and star after. Now let's check the screenshot. Itumelin is first and Khan is second. So that is right, meaning we did not sort. Always check whether it was sorted or not. What if they want us to display all those who do not give their progress? That is empty space. You say null. Null means it will give empty space. And then if you say not null, meaning those that are not empty. Not null means those who provided, not empty. So make sure you know this criteria. That is terminated, star, TER, star. Then to only give it terminated. Then the second one, open the query 5 underscore 4 based on the TBL students table in design view. Display a list of all students whose progress is unknown. So 5.4 in design view. Now, whose progress is unknown, that means null. So progress, we say null. And who still owe an amount of 3,500 or more. So because of N, that means they must be on the same line. So fee outstanding greater than 3,500, greater than or equals to 3,500. Because it says 3,500 or more. So we have to say greater than or equals to 3,500. And then the outstanding amount should be displayed from the largest to the smallest. That means we need to sort outstanding amount should be sorted from the largest, which is descending order. So this should be, the progress should be unknown and outstanding amount from the largest to the smallest. Right. So that is all for 5.4. 5.5, query 5.5. Display only name, surname, and fee outstanding and enrollment type. So this is 5.5. We need to display one, the name, surname, fee outstanding, and enrollment type. Of all full students who either graduated, so full student, that's the first one. We have to do it step by step. Run it to see where do you see full student? It's under the enrollment type. So under enrollment type, we say star FUL star. That means it contains full, which is, so here it gives us all the full student, FUL. And then who either graduated or still active. Now, where do we see graduated or still active? We will find it under the progress. So who either graduated or active. So we put graduated, which is star, GRA star. So graduated and active. So star, ACT star. So let's see active. If it doesn't give you, we can just go to the next line. We can just say all. We can come here and say star ACT star. So that is active. Don't forget the full time must also be there, star FUL star. So these are full time, either graduated or active. Now look at it. Graduated, that is full time, or active, that is full time. So you see, they are together. Now we are done with this part. As well as any part-time student. Now here is very important. As well as any part-time student. So we go to enrollment type, star PART, part-time, star. Part-time. So that part-time, we don't have to put graduated or active. That's any of them. But then the full-time should be graduated. Full-time should be active also. But the part-time, any of them. So as you can see here, if I run it, you will see the full-time is either active or graduated. But the part-time can even be empty one. Now, remember the question says we must display only the name, surname, fee outstanding, and the enrollment type. So name, surname, fee outstanding, enrollment type. We don't have to display progress. So we have to uncheck this one. And then we run again. So we want to show only these four fields. Right. So that's all for that question for 5 marks. Now 5.6. Open the 5_6 based on TBL student. We are going to calculate a new field called age. Now, this is calculated field. We are calculating age. So we type age, then you right click and choose build. So it gives you age here. Or you can just remove it, it's fine. Now, age. We can use several ways to calculate age. We can use the year frame. Now, date of birth was given to us. So we can use the long method by saying now minus the date of birth divided by 365,25. Don't forget the now and then the date of birth must be in bracket. now gives you the current date minus the date of birth given to you, all divided by 365.25. Now, when you run it, we get the answers. But it gives us EXPR1. So we change this EXPR1. Don't forget, you shouldn't delete the column. Then we change it to age. So this should be the right calculation. Now, I don't know whether the question is asking us to change it to certain decimal place. Sometimes they can tell you to modify to certain decimal place. Then when you go to property sheet format, you change it to fixed, and then the number of decimal place, let's say 0. So there's no decimal place. So that's how we calculate the age. We could have done so also again by using what we call the year function. Year into bracket now. You close the bracket minus year, double click into bracket DOB. This is DOB, and then you close it. So this will also gives you, it's gonna give you the same answer, and then you change it to age. So either you use the long method or the shortest one to calculate the age. Don't forget, you can also be given a question to calculate text function. You right click, build, here's the left of the name, comma 2, first 2 characters, followed by and maybe the length of the same name. You close the bracket, followed by use shift and 7, just like the way we do it in spreadsheet, and right of the same name, comma 5. Now, if you want everything to be in uppercase, we use what we call upper, U case. So before the left, you say U case, then you close it. So this is a text function in database query, a text function in database query. So you can see I've joined them, and then all in uppercase. If it is in lowercase, we say L case, L case. So take note of that. Remember, a table also, we have calculation in a table. We could have done calculation also in a table, like code. Let's say this one. And then when you are doing calculations in a table, we don't choose short text. We choose what you call calculated. Then you see expression builder. Then you can now type your function here. Left of maybe name, comma 3. And length of the same name. Then all of them, if you want it to be in lowercase, say L case. And then you close the bracket. So this one also will give you the code over here. Right. So that is how we also create what do you call it in a code in a database. So you must take note of that. Right. Now let's move straight to the next question, which is the last part, which is the database report. Now, whenever you are dealing with database report, but before that, I think I must also emphasize on database calculations in the form. Now, when you are doing form calculation, let's say we want to add another field called code. So we choose text box, which is A, B, and then you draw it. Now, where it says unbound, that is where you are going to put the calculation. You right click and you choose build event, then you double click on expression builder. So this is similar to calculation in query and then also table. So here we can do our normal calculations nicely for us, like the outstanding fee. Let's say we want to do 20% of the outstanding fee, 20 divided by 100 times outstanding fee. And then okay. But you know it will not show here. So you go back to the build event, you copy, Control C. You click OK. You come here and say Control V so that it will be here. Now, if I go there, you see my calculation for me. Right. So that's how we do calculations in a form. Remember, you can do calculations in a form either in the details section or in the form footer. You need to take note of that. And then again, you can be asked to insert maybe image as the background image. You go to format background image to be at the background also. Watch out for some of these technicalities regarding form also. Now we move straight to our report, which is created for us. Now the question wants us to modify it. Insert your examination number in the report header. This is the header. Now, if you are asked to insert the examination number, we use the control called label A, capital A, small a. Then you type your examination number here. Then the next question, change the page orientation to landscape. Now, to change the orientation, you will see page setup, or you can even go there and see orientation. When you go to page setup, you see landscape. They can ask you to even change the margins and others. You'll find them under the page setup. Change the properties of the surname field so that the surname is visible when you view the report. Now, let's go to the view report. You see, we don't see the surname values. Now, they want us to display the surname values. Here is the values. Here is the label. The label is showing, but the value don't show. So you go there. Then you see properties. If you don't find properties, right click, and then you see properties. Now format, you will see visible, it says no. You choose yes. So watch out for the properties. There are so many things that you can do under the properties. Whenever you click on it, go and check the properties. They can ask you to change the height, the width, put a border around them and other things, hyperlink, all of them, you find them under properties. Right. Group the report according to the enrollment field. So you go to add group and then you choose enrollment field. Now, if you don't find the group and sort here, you can tell me what to do and say group. Then click on sort and group it. It will be here, and then you bring it. Make sure more. Now, by entire value is there, so it's fine there. And then A on top or Z on top, they didn't mention that. Then when you run it, you see the enrollment type is following, full-time, then followed by that one. So now it wants you to be once, meaning that heading there, whether full-time or that, must be together. So we have, because we have grouped them, we see enrollment type header. We need to change this one from details to header. So that it will be there. So the trick for it to be view once, you just take it from the details to its header, then it will only be grouped and view only once. So that's how we change that type of question. Insert a function in the group footer to display the total number of students per enrollment type. So you go to more, and then you see with no totals. Number of students, the total number of students meaning count. So number of students, count, values, then you choose show subtotal in group footer. Group footer or group footer. Why do we say group footer? Because of per enrollment type. That's according to the enrollment type. So it's going to calculate for you after each enrollment type. Full time is 52, and then part-time is 36. So that should be the end of that question. Again, just like we did in the form, they could have also asked you to do the calculation. They could have asked you to put the calculation here. So you put the label just like we did in the form, and then you go to right click and then choose build event expression builder. Then you can now put your calculation also there. So it is similar to the other one, but here we use the expression builder, and after that you can copy them also. Now remember, the same thing applies to form. They can ask you to put the page numbers. They can ask you to put the date and time, to only include the date or include the time in the header or footer. They can ask you to also change the conditional formatting. Let's say the outstanding fee. Conditional formatting, you get it under the format. You see conditional formatting. Let's say new rule. All of them, the field value. There are so many rules. You can use expression. We can also use color scales to compare. And then let's say the value should be greater than 4,000. And then it should be colored or filled. And then okay. And apply it. So there can be conditional formatting. So when you go to that one, you will see them. All the values more than 4,000 will be shaded. Again, they can ask you to also put the validation rule and input mask. When you go to data, you'll see them also there. Then running sum. Be careful about running sum. They can ask you for running sum for maybe this one over group or overall. So you must watch out for running sum from data. Right. So all this may be the progress. They can also ask you something for progress. For all this running sum over group or that one. Now, take note of that. These are some of the things that they can ask you regarding the database. Any question? If there's any question, you can, instead of space in input mark, can we put hashtag? No, you can't put hashtag because the question was specific, just a space for this particular question. But hashtag is only for numbers. Yes, you can put hashtag instead of 0. You can put hashtag. Remember, hashtag is for optional, but you cannot put it there. If you put optional, remember, let's say for contact number, and then you go and put input mask. When you put hashtag space, what does that mean? It means that it is optional number. Optional number. Hashtag is optional number, just like 9. But 0 is compulsory number. And you know that numbers for the cell phone number were compulsory. So you cannot use hashtag for that. Right. Any question on database? If there are no questions, let's wrap up with the HTML. HTML, I believe, is one of the shortest type of questions that you can ever have. And then also the mail merge, we will look at that. Now, this question 6 _1 home. So you right click and choose edit in Notepad++. Insert the text note geek to appear in the browser tab. So that's the title. It should be title. Now, 6.2, you must answer it somewhere here. And it says, set the background color to be hashtag ADB9CA. So BG color. Don't do recreation. Don't create it again. BG color equals to hashtag ABD 9CA. Right. Then the next question, format the main heading Techno Geek and the image to appear horizontal in the middle of the page. Horizontal in the middle of the page. So H1 here. Horizontal, that's vertical. So this horizontal alignment. So H1 align equals to center. So we have to center this, or you can use the center tag also. And then 6.1.4, the text icon should display if the 6_1 head image is not visible. So we use alt text, ALT equals to icon. And then the next question, modify the HTML code to display the horizontal line as shown in the example on the previous page. So the previous page horizontal line here must be there before the contact X, and then it shouldn't be on the whole page. So HR color equals to that, and then the width equals to maybe 75% of the page, because it shouldn't be the entire page. And then we can make the size, the thickness, let's say 4 or 5. It should be visible, because this one should be a faint line. It should be big. And the question didn't specify how it should look like. So we must make the thickness to be bigger one. So look at it, make the thickness to be 5. Okay, here they specify the thickness should be 5, and then the width should be 75. Now, insert a hyperlink on the text www.technogeek.org at the end of the page that links to the website Techno. So the hyperlink was given to us. So href equals to. Now we are linking that one to the website. So the website should not be there. This bold website should be cut from here. And then we close this. Then we put that one here. Then we close our A. Right. So that should be, this one should be bold there when you click on it, and then it goes to this particular website. So that's all about HTML. Watch out for HTML table also. Let's say I want to create a table. Table. Remember, a table has the following tag: the width of the table, let's say 100%, and then cell spacing, which is the space in between the cells, let's say 5. Then cell padding, let's say 3. And then the border of the cells, let's say 4. So you must have the table. And within the table, we start with TR, which is table row. So let's say this is the first row. And then the headings, we use TH, which is table heading. Now, maybe CAT paper 2 or paper 1. And then when you are done, you close your H or TH. Now, if you are done with the row, you close your TR. So this should be our first row. When I click on, you see the first row and then the table head. The TH will be bold and then center automatically. Now, the actual content, we use what we call TD, which is the table data cells. MS Word. Then you close your TD. Remember, it should be our second row, TR. The first row is closed. Second row, we open it. Now, the first cell in the second row is MS Word, and we put it inside what we call TD. Then you open another TD, database. Then you close your TD. Then another table data, another cell in the same row will be, what do you call it? Spreadsheet, TD. And then another table data, which will be HTML. Right, now when you are done, you close your TR. Now I want to show you something. I'm going to save it, then I will show you. So you can see here. Oh, sorry, this one made it 75. It should be 75% of the page. The HR there, sorry, it should be 75%, not 75. So that to cover 75% of the page. Now look at this. Our table is here with the CAT content. Now let me put a lot of breaks. BR is break. So you can see the table. I didn't close the table tag. Let me close the table. Yeah. So if I put a lot, I want the table, I want this one to be on top so that to be more visible. So I'm going to put more breaks. Right. So this is the table. Now you can see here, table data. You can see that it's having, it's not bold. The TH table head is bold and center because I made it TH. Now this one is not bold. But look here. If I want this one to cover, to be merged, we call it, how many columns? We have column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So I want to merge 4 columns so that CAT paper 1 will be merged across the 4 columns. Now you see CAT paper 1, we have only one TH, but when you come here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The second row contains 4 cells. So I must merge the 4 cells for this one. I put an attribute called call span. Call span meaning that column span, combining column, that merging 4 columns. Call span equals to 4. Why 4? Because there are 4 columns. The TDs form a column 1, 2, 3, 4 in this particular row. So I say call span equals to 4 so that it will be merged across the 4 columns. as you can see here. Now, if you are merging rows, like here, if I want this to combine in rows, there are two rows. You can see there are two rows here, row 1 and then row 2. So I can say row span equals to 4. So if I'm merging across the rows, I say row span equals to 2. Why 2? Because there are two rows. So row span equals 2. If I want it to be merged across two rows. So you can see here, two rows are combined. Right. So that is all about call span and then the row span and then the table and images also. Now, one interesting part about HTML that you must also know is the list, multi-level list. Now, I want to create a short multi-level list as another TR. Then this particular TD, and then I make it call span equals to 4. I want it to be 4 columns. So here, let me change back to call span. Now, I want to create a list here inside this TD, which is a cell. Now, the list, I want to create a multi-level list. The list here, we use what we call, maybe I want the first one to be OL, which is ordered list. And I want that type of a list to be ABC. Now, the list item there, which is LI, will be, let's say, MS Word. Then I close my LI. Now, under normal circumstances, you must close your LI. But because, let's say, Microsoft Word, I want other lists to be below Microsoft Word. I don't need to close this LI. Then I open another list, which is maybe UL. Type UL is bullet. Type equals to disk or square. I want to use a square bullet. And each LI for Microsoft Word, I want to put the content called font group. I close LI. Then the next LI for Microsoft Word, which is maybe a paragraph. Then I close my LI. Right, now when I'm done with this list, I must close this UL. You can see, I close this UL. This before I come and close that LI. This LI here is for this Microsoft Word that I didn't close because there were other lists below it. Then after that, I can close my OL, the very first list here. Now let's see the multi-level list. Here's it. So you can see A, Microsoft Word, and below it, we have the font group and then the paragraph. That's multi-level list. The trick is this. When there's another list below it, you don't close that LI, then you open another either bullet or other list, then you start creating them. When you are done, then that you must also close it. They can give you a screenshot and then they will ask you to create a multi-level list similar to that particular list that you see. Right. Any other question? All those who have joined from what we have done so far, if you have any question, don't forget to ask, and then I'll address everybody's question. If not, I'm going to end here, and then you'll be able to go through this again. I think there's one mail merge that we didn't talk about, but you can watch mail merge. I think you guys are good with mail merge because nobody's asking. But then you can watch videos also later, and then multi-level lists also from other videos. If there are no questions, I will say thank you for your precious time. You can watch this one again. The data files will also be there that you can practice, and I wish you all the best tomorrow. Thank you for your precious time.